Democrats are still trying to milk whatever political gain they can get from January 6th. You heard that there are upcoming hearings that are going to be terribly, terribly partisan and probably very dishonest, as has been the national conversation about January 6th. You've heard it. This is the worst thing that has happened since the War of 1812 in Washington, D.C. It is total nonsense. No one was killed that day except Ashley Babbitt. We'll talk about her in a moment. But what really galls me, the number of people who were arrested yet are still in jail and have not been convicted of any crime. This has been going on and on for months now. Michelle Malkin, Newsmax contributor, calls this the American Gulag, and I agree. I want to start with Jacob Anthony Chansley. Remember him? The horns guy. He was all over the place. Look, I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong, and ultimately he'll be punished, but he's already been punished, and it's ridiculous. All this time in federal custody, he didn't hurt anybody that day that we've seen. He didn't break anything. He was polite, yet he's still in federal custody. What's happening here without being convicted of a crime? And he is just one of dozens who are still in custody. We'd like to show you some of them. Again, they're in trouble, but this is ridiculous and it's un-American. Zachary Allam, still in jail. Noah S. Bacon, still in jail. Michael Leon Brock, still in jail. Nicholas James Brockhoff, still in jail. Alan William Byerly, still in jail. Samuel Camargo, still in jail. William Crestman, still in jail. Lonnie Kaufman, still in jail. Timothy Lewis Hale Cusinelli, still in jail. Charles Donahue, still in jail. Carl Dresch, still in jail. Michael Joseph Foy, still in jail. Matthew Green, still in jail. Kenneth Harrelson, still in jail. Dominic Pizzola, still in jail. Jeffrey William Sills, still in jail. Anthony Troy Smocks, still in jail. George Tanio, still in jail. Paul von Bernowitz, still in jail. Jessica Watkins, still in jail. Carrie John Walden, still in jail. Ricky Christopher Wilden, still in jail. Now listen, many of these people may in fact be guilty of a crime, and that's fine. But let's get on with it, okay? And whatever they're guilty of, they're not guilty of insurrection. Don't believe what the media says. Don't believe what Democrats. We've been through the charges. Let's go through them right now. This is what those individuals are charged with, okay? Parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building. Disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building. Entering and remaining in a restricted building. Civil disorder, disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. Destruction or injury to buildings or property in special maritime and territorial jurisdiction. Wow. Entering or remaining in the gallery of either House or Congress. You never hear about insurrection when you go through these documents. These documents, by the way, which they have purposely made kind of hard to track. I think they want to make this confusing so people won't talk about them like I'm talking to you about them right now. But remember this, when you hear insurrection, they are lying, because insurrection is actually, there's a law against insurrection. You can be charged with it, and no one has been. So when they say this, they are either lying or deliberately ignoring it, or maybe just ignorant.
Clearly, this was a deadly insurrection.
Clearly, they were attempting to overthrow our government. This is an insurrection.
Last week's insurrection was shocking and tragic.
We've seen an unprecedented insurrection in our capital and a brutal attack on our democracy on January the 6th.
There is a presidential-inspired insurrection. Plain and simple, an insurrection.
The President of the United States incited insurrection against our country.
The insurrection was an existential crisis, a test of whether our democracy could survive.
All right, it's just hyperbole. It's just for dramatics. This was not an insurrection. And oh, by the way, no one had any firearms. Isn't that interesting? I think it's significant. Meanwhile, if you are a left-wing protester / rioter, You can riot, you can stab people, and you can be walking about just fine. You remember the summer of Black Lives Matter? We're still living with the after effects. Here in New York, a couple of lawyers, no kidding, firebombed a New York City police vehicle, allegedly. They've been charged. This was back in May of last year. Sometime in June, they were let out of jail. These two individuals let out of jail, restricted to home confinement, but that's a lot better than jail. Why? Well, maybe because they're leftists, maybe because they're sympathetic to Antifa. And there are a lot of cases like this. Again, if you're on one side or look a certain way, it seems like you're okay. Let's go through some of the more noteworthy cases, shall we? You see 16-year-old Jordan Benjamin. Allegedly, he stabbed a woman in December, leaving her in the hospital for multiple days. He was charged with felony assault, but released without having to post bail. Takum Newsom was charged with attempted murder and related crimes for a February bar shooting, after which he went on the run to his mother's house in North Carolina. A known gang member, lengthy rap sheet, but a judge released him without bail as long as he returned for his court appearance. And then there's 23-year-old teacher Mikhail Bukanavage, arrested in April at a Black Lives Matter protest for Dante Wright. He is accused of smashing windows in New York City, spray painting cars and buildings with graffiti, kill cops, F the cops. He was caught allegedly red-handed, charged with felony assault, actually. He resisted arrest. Previously arrested for shoving a cop during a July 2020 protest. He was released without bail and no terms of supervision required. This is very, very typical. Meanwhile, Ashley Babbitt, when's the last time you heard anyone talk about her? It's very sad. We are not going to forget. Even as Joe Biden tries to exploit January 6th for his own cynical political purposes.
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated. The fact is, you can't look at that television and say, nothing happened on the 6th. You can't listen to people who say this was a peaceful march. No, I'm serious. Think about it. Think of the things being said.
Why does he have to do that? He's conning us. He thinks he's getting away with it as well. I don't think he's Satan. I just think he's a very bad president and probably a bad man, quite frankly. On that town hall, this was interesting. Listen to the ovation at the very top, a little bit out of control, actually.
Cincinnati, Ohio tonight on the campus of Mount St. Joseph University overlooking the Ohio River. This is a CNN town hall with the President of the United States, Joe Biden. I'm Don Lemon. President Biden is 6 months into his presidency and facing a critical moment for his agenda. Nearly half of the U.S. population is now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But the pace of the vaccination is at its lowest point since January, and the highly infectious Delta variant is driving a new COVID surge in all 50 states.
I could barely hear Don Lemon. Why was everybody going so crazy while he was trying to talk? Really clapping and yelling and whooping it up. Take a look at this. They were overcompensating. That room was empty. Half of those people are frustrated CNN staffers. This is all smoke and mirrors. This is Cincinnati, Ohio, and they could not fill the room for the President of the United States.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.